Thanks, Alexis. Last time on Beast Wars, last time on Rohan's Corner, we talked about partners and about how they enable or disable our transforming collecting habits. This time, I thought I'd talk a little bit more about how Transformers, especially the product, the toys, have evolved over the last 35 years. Obviously, we've got different lines now, we've got different characters, we've got different shapes and sizes, and obviously Bayverse has come around and changed a lot of things. But also, one thing that gets spoken about almost on a weekly basis now, and it's become really prominent in the last few years, especially on Transformers the show, when Alexis gets ribbed about this almost every week, is scale. And it's something that G1 had no clue about. If you look at some of the toys that we had, Prime versus Blaster versus Megatron versus Jetfire, those sorts of scales, just they didn't seem to work. Some of the mini-bots were fine, the cars were okay, even the flyers were good, but the Seekers were okay. But other bits and pieces were all over the place. So Mega Supreme was massive, Skylynx was huge, which kind of worked. But then you had, really small figures like Broadside, who should have been a lot bigger, so on and so forth. And so another thing that's happened in the Transformers universe over the last few years is that there seems to be this divide now in terms of what people are actually collecting, going from Legends class figures, which I obviously collect, to Generation 1, which obviously a lot of us have collected over the years and some of us are getting into now, and then also Masterpiece and Chug. Those seem to be the four biggest key areas. So what I thought I'd do is try and do some sort of comparison for us on the four areas and what we think sort of works best for everybody. So let's take a look.
But if we had your strength, your size, your power.
Right, so here we go. First of all, I have to apologise to all the Masterpiece collectors out there because I don't actually have any official Masterpiece figures anymore. I sold mine off years ago and I don't collect the official Masterpiece figures. I have a couple of 3p Masterpiece scale figures here just to show for scale, but overall, hopefully that will give us an idea of what we're talking about. So in the middle here, we've got Magic Square Frenzy. I go by the cartoon, not by the comics, so sorry if I've offended people already. And then G1 on the right and Perfect Effect there on the left. I don't actually have the War for Cybertron Siege Magic Square Frenzy character, so I've got here for scale purposes is Rumble in his packaging because I haven't taken him out yet. But otherwise, here we have a plethora of hardheads. Going down from Legends scale to Titans Returns Chug, Generation 1, who's quite big for the original series. And then right at the back there, I've got a Toy World Hardbone, who was one of the early 3p Masterpiece class figures, although they've become a lot bigger over the years now. And you can see the Legend scale figures, generally speaking, tend to scale quite nicely next to one another. Hardhead and Chrome Dome there at the front, relatively in scale. They are a lot bigger than this Toy World Wheeljack, who I believe is too small. And then as we come across, we've got Magic Square, Ramjet, and MFT Astro Train, who kind of scale up quite nicely up against one another. In the background there, we've got Generation 1 Wheeljack and Generation 1 Ramjet. And I think Ramjet is too big, Wheeljack is too small. And if we compare them to Hardhead, then Hardhead is too big as well. So Generation 1, like I said, just all over the place.
Hardhead, this is it! I just know it, I know it! We're all gonna die, this is it, this is the end, we're finished!
Masterpiece at the back there, Hardbone versus, I've got the Function Code X1 Chrome Dome there, who's quite small. And then if we look up the back here, Generation 1 Devastator, who's quite small compared to I've got the Weijiang Legends-based Devastator off the DX9 KO, and next to them I've got the Jimbao Gravity Builder Devastator, we just put together yesterday, and he's absolutely massive, as you can see.
Nothing defeats the Devastator. Nothing. Nothing, little one. What would you say about me?
I've put Siege Jetfire there just for a scale purpose. I think he works quite nicely against some of the Masterpiece figures like Fireflight from Generation 1 and Fireflight from Zhejiang. And I think Jetfire works quite nicely with that sort of scale. Again, with the Impossible Toys Alicon there, and the Chug Alicon is tiny in comparison. Generation 1 Nor, who is absolutely massive compared to his little counterpart from Titan's Return. What fits in with your collection? And that, I think, is the answer why so many people have actually started collecting various different lines now. You've got some people who just collect G1, some people who just collect Chug, some people who collect MP and Chug, some people who collect Legends and Chug. I'm collecting Legends and Chug and a couple of Masterpiece scale bots just for the combiner, just to put them next to the Titans, because I feel like this Devastator next to the Titan looks quite good. But yeah, what do you all think? What's your preference? Is it the fact that you collect Masterpiece for the quality, or is it for the scale, or is it the fact that you collect Legends for the cartoon accuracy, or again because they scale quite nicely with one another from, you know, similar manufacturers? Let us know your thoughts and help Alexis out with the scale problem, because he's getting hammered.
Say goodbye to the universe, Maximals. The future has changed. Yes, the Autobots lose. Evil triumphs. And you no longer exist.
Thanks everyone, this has been Rohan, and I'll pass back to Andy.